Right, so we are live right now, and hello everyone. Here's Keitsu Sorenson today, and welcome back to our group. Keitsu, would you like to say a few words to the team, to the group?
Yeah, definitely. Hello to everyone. I'm actually really surprised at how large of a Vietnamese community there is surrounding just like the internet marketing community, Shopify, etc. I'm actually really shocked because before it got to me, I just had no idea. So that's so cool to see how many people are interested in Shopify and e-commerce. So I'm welcoming everyone to this chat, and I look forward to providing tons of value for you guys.
Okay, I'm sorry, there's a bit of lag here.
Sure.
We're still waiting for the viewers to join in, as I can see there are a couple of them who have already joined. So in the meanwhile, I'll just welcome everybody here. Right. So welcome to our group's live stream, guys. Here we go behind the scene to uncover the tactics and strategies top entrepreneurs use to make sales in the market and how we can get the same results here. So here's your host, Han Nguyen, and I am his VA, Jay. Welcome back to our group. So today you guys are in for an awesome experience as we have the opportunity to talk to one of the top players in sales. His name is Keitsu Sorenson, and I would like to welcome Keitsu to our group. Thank you so much for joining us, Keitsu.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead, please.
Oh, just thanks for having me. I'm just incredibly excited to be here and just provide you guys with educational content that you guys can start taking action with immediately today. It's all about taking action, guys. Just implement.
Lovely. So before we start the Q&A session, would you like to tell us something about yourself, how you got into the business, and what you feel about dropshipping? A few things about yourself, basically, till the time we have our viewers online.
Sure. So again, I'm Jay Keitsu. My background stems mainly from actually, my main passion is being a dancer, so I do what's called break dancing here in the United States. So that's like my main thing that I love to do outside of business. But in terms of e-commerce and how I got into that, I used to work for a big domain company called GoDaddy, which I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of by now. They have one of their main offices here local in my city. So I started working for them for a little while and then started talking to, other business owners because we would talk to them to get to know their business. And over time, like some people that I talked to, they were running like e-com stores themselves, or I think even one guy ran a dropship store. So that kind of piqued my interest there. And then I started kind of researching it on Google, of course, to read more about it. And then after that, it just kind of, trickled into just more and more of e-commerce, and then it kind of went from there. So.
Okay, that's fantastic. So thank you so much for updating or providing us this bit of behind-the-scenes story, Keitsu. So let's begin with the Q&A here, right?
Sure.
So as you just mentioned that you were working with GoDaddy and you quit your job and then thought about e-commerce. So what were your parents or what did your family think about you? Or how did they support you when you thought of starting up e-commerce?
Yeah, so, just like any parents, especially like if they're ethnic parents, most, at least here, the expectations are like, you should become a doctor or a lawyer or accountant or, any of those like higher paid professions. They expect you to be in those fields, period. So no, I didn't have their support at the beginning, and of course they didn't agree. But the thing is, like here, sure, it's a great land of opportunity. So I decided to make that risk for myself, and I'm glad it paid off. And of course, like here, I like to give back to my parents, so I began like rebuilding their home. My dad retired from his original job, so it's been great to give back to them. Now they have support for me, but at first they definitely didn't.
Okay, I see. So that's how you came into e-commerce, right? And so before before getting into e-commerce, did you have any kind of experience or knowledge about drop shipping?
No, so at least none that would be like helpful. I used to like do graphic design, but that's as far as it went, really.
Okay, fantastic. So you didn't have any experience with drop shipping. You were more into graphics designing. Fantastic. Now, have you ever tried print on demand?
Yeah, so I've literally just begun print on demand within the last week. I just started diving down into it. I installed an app called Pillow Profits app, which does pillowcases, and then ultimately there's one that you can do like shoes with it too. So I'm finding good success with my graphic design background. Fortunately, I've been able to just come up with some creative designs and then basically slap it on the pillows, and the boots are really disruptive on the news feed. So that's actually gaining really good traction as a part of my dropshipping businesses too. Why not just throw some print on demand products and see how they do? And they've been doing great. So that's an exciting field, because like people can't replicate what you're doing so easily. They would have to put a lot more work to be able to even try.
Sure, actually. So it's an exciting world, you say, print on demand. That's great to know. So for upsell, which upsell app for Shopify would you recommend? OCU or Carthook? Which one would you?
So, yeah, I've actually experimented with both OCU and Carthook. It's kind of hard to say which one is superior, but I will say that in terms of reliability, I'll definitely take Carthook over OCU in that case. And the integration is very easy to use in Carthook. And I found like OCU required a lot more like upfront work to get it, started and working in the first place. But Carthook, on the other hand, is definitely has a higher price point. I'm sure you guys have seen that, but I find it's negligible if you sell a lot. So Carthook does have its downsides, though. I don't know if you've seen, if you need to like integrate with, let's say, Google AdWords conversions and affiliate tracking conversions, you can't use script tags within Carthook. So that's kind of a difficult obstacle to overcome unless you really know how to code. So I find that to be a little troublesome. That, and if let's say you're combining it with ClickFunnels, if you're doing like a custom landing page, you can only display one product variant to go to the cart, as opposed to using the standard Shopify buy now button. You can display all of them. So there's some flaws with Carthook, but overall it's been a good experience to work with them. And as far as OCU goes, it worked for the time that I tested it, but I found it to be buggy, especially if you were using a third-party app for like pixel integration, such as Shopify. It just seemed to break everything, which was not good.
Okay, lovely. So what kind of a store would you recommend for a beginner?
Sure. So I highly recommend a general store still, and that's just simply based off the fact that you can test so many different products from like multiple different fan or community pages, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. It allows you that flexibility initially. And then again, if you guys feel the need to niche in the future, you certainly can, but by doing that general store first, you allow yourself to have that testing ground. Or if you want to move your winning products to, let's say, ClickFunnels, then it seems more kind of like a niche because it's literally just a one product funnel. They don't have any other options.
Okay, fantastic. So what we have heard is you quit your job when you read the book 4 Hours Work Week, right? Mm-hmm. So what would you recommend for a particular or a beginner or an intermediate level, our group members? What kind of a book should they read for a particular mindset?
Mm-hmm. So I think a big one is 10X by Grant Cardone. I think that's a definite must. He even has like an audio MP3 version of it, which is truly inspiring. I just got off the plane the other day just listening to it, and he actually sells his books and MP3s on Shopify. I don't know if you guys know that, but yeah, I listened to that the other day, and just the whole mindset of thinking of success is like a moral obligation or duty. That itself becomes very, very powerful. And then outside of that, another book, again by Timothy Ferriss. It's a relatively new book called Tools of the Titans. Successfully excludes from successful people. So it's like a giant encyclopedia to study what others are doing for their daily routines, which can be very interesting to see some of the habits of successful people.
Okay, fantastic. From your experience, when do you think a particular person should change from a general store to a niche store?
Sure. So again, that kind of stems back to kind of what I said earlier. You find your winning products on your general store, and then if you need to or feel the need to like move it on to, let's say, ClickFunnels, like I said, then I think it's okay in that scenario. Sure, niche stores may have some better conversions just because people kind of know what to expect. But if it's all in one funnel and you only give them one option, then it's pretty much a niche store in that sense.
Okay. So have you tried Companion Lab, and is it worth trying it?
Sure, yeah. I've definitely tried Companion Labs. I think it was 2 months ago. And, whether it's worth it is in my opinion, is questionable. It sure does have some like fun features like the ad set ratings. But as far as what it does for manual bidding, it's not something you can't do yourself. I mean, if you're lazy, maybe it helps, but it sets bids at different ranges. So it's, again, you can do that manually yourself. And that, and the fact that I like to, when I'm doing manual bidding, I like to create a new campaign for the manual bidding, alongside the auto bids, as opposed to having the auto bids and manual bidding ad sets all in one ad set. So I like to separate both of them.
Okay, so it's better for manual bidding. That's what you're saying?
Companion, I mean, it's a good, like, get your feet wet, I suppose, with it. But it's just setting different ranges of the manual bid for you when you could be doing that easily yourself. So I think to me, it's kind of just money down the drain.
Okay, fantastic. So what do you think about free or just pay shipping method? Do they still work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not a fan of running direct ads on Facebook for free just pay shipping to my Shopify store. But if you're doing it to ClickFunnels, yeah, absolutely it works. And for Shopify, again, I don't find it to be good just because you can't, there's not really a squeeze page for it, and you're not collecting those leads at the very least. But for, let's say, email marketing and Facebook Messenger marketing, it absolutely works incredibly well. And that's where I mainly focus on my free just pay shipping. It's just through, retargeting basically. And it does extremely well. But my answer is yes, it definitely still works.
Okay, great. So have you tried Snapchat, and what is your experience with Snapchat ads?
Yeah. So I have, and maybe I'm too early to judge, but the Snapchat user audience is, in my opinion, they're broke as a joke. There's just like far too many teenagers, and even though you can target by age range as well, in my experience of testing it out, it just did not produce the results I wanted. So perhaps it will evolve over time, but if Snapchat doesn't like crack the ad experience soon, they're going to be in trouble. So Snapchat is definitely a good platform if you're, let's say, an influencer. But beyond that, I don't think the audience is quite warmed up yet to buying items they see there. I'm still wondering if like a lot of other marketers have tried Snapchat ads though.
Okay, great. So say, for example, if a particular product is selling good for a couple of months on a store, and suddenly the sales have reduced. Say for 2 months it was doing great, and suddenly the sales have dropped. So what would you suggest? We should stop selling the product, or what should be our mindset?
No, I think it just probably needs a breath of fresh air. So I don't really see a reason to stop selling the product, even if it's less consistent on sales. It could just be a matter of getting the engagement going up again and testing some different audiences, all of which you can have a direct impact on.
Okay. So, for if a newbie or a new person wants to start Shopify dropshipping, how much do you think he should have in his pockets?
Yeah, I mean,
how should he begin?
Yeah, realistically speaking, you'll want to have at least like $60 to start up with. Now, in my case, I made my return on investment very fast, not even using Facebook ads from the beginning. For those that know my story, I mean, I used Instagram and got people to be my affiliates for my brand, and meaning I only pay them after they generated me sales. So therefore, I didn't have to invest anything up front and made my money like way before the Shopify trial was up and all before the app trials were up. That's the great thing, is just because there's so many like free trials out there before you actually have to start paying. So there's definite time to make your return on investment right away.
Okay. So how do you find a new potential niche to test?
Yeah, so I use a lot of different basically software out there to do my research. But I mean, you can simplify it even on Pinterest, Amazon. There's one called Niche Miner. I'm sure some of you have heard. And then, of course, I do plenty of my product research on AliExpress. But I mainly source that to my VA to do most of that type of research, and then they upload it to my shop. So my main responsibility is simply to just test the products via Facebook ads, email marketing, or Instagram. But again, just make sure when you're researching products, try to find things that either have a passion tied to it or it's incredibly useful. And then you want to think in mind, like, would somebody else like tag a friend in social media for that product? To me, those are absolute requirements.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what do you think about Facebook ads? Do you think they're getting saturated?
Sure, there's more competition, but just like anything that starts making money, but to say it's saturated, in my opinion, would be a mistake. So as marketers, one of our duties is to disrupt the experience. So as long as you can disrupt it, it won't matter how many people enter the market, because you and your business will stand out. So again, build a name for your brand. Even if it's drop shipping, this can definitely be done. And more about that is like, there's so many like drop ship stores out there. They all look the same. They feel the same. They're using, mediocre names, or they're using names with like deals, store, sales, etc. You want to think of a name that can have incredible branding to it and actually have an overall theme and feel to it. Even if it's a general store, this can definitely be done. Like, I'm not going to share my store, but like one of my stores is a general store, but it has like a space theme to it. It uses the lingo that people who love space love, and you can do incredible branding around that.
Okay, fantastic. So we often see your ads on our Facebook profile. However, we are not able to get to your webinar. So would you be kind enough to drop in a link so that we could post it on our group? And whenever people want, they can actually enjoy and understand and see what you have to say, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, please.
It's kind of a hidden link. Like I don't have like typically a direct process to go there. It's more kind of like I'll be honest, it's kind of an exit pop to go there. But yeah, I'll post a link so you guys can see how I kind of started off with dropshipping. There you go. Okay,
thank you. So say if I spy a good product from a competitor, how can I get to compete with the FB ads, Facebook ads?
Just because someone else has been first to market the product doesn't mean there's still not money to be made. So of course you want to kind of reverse engineer what is working, but you'll always want to put your own spin on it and improve upon it. So whether that's I still don't see many companies utilizing the Facebook Messenger bots. So using like Chatfield or ManyChat, again, you can increase your engagement incredibly by just asking people to comment a particular phrase that people can relate to, of course, that makes sense with the product. And that's a great way to overcome your competition in terms of not only engagement, but you're building a list doing that too through Facebook Messenger, which is pretty sick.
So when we start a general Shopify store, do we create a general fan page or mini niche fan page? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so when I start general stores, I always have that main brand page, which is of course good to build upon, but I'll also have many niche fan or community pages on both Facebook and Instagram. And I think that's important because you're going to try so many different products out. You'll want to create kind of niche pages for each different type of product.
Okay. And do you often use dark posts?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a fan of dark posts. It makes it harder for competitors to spy on you unless they have more sophisticated tools, of course. But beyond that, it's nice to keep your fan pages clean and full of fun content that people enjoy. They certainly don't like feeling being sold to all the time. So just keep it fun on your fan pages. That's what people are there on social media for, fun.
Right. So how do you deal with the orders, the lot of orders per day from AliExpress, drop shipping, your cash flow, and the AliExpress suppliers, all those things, so many orders in one day? How do you manage those things?
Yeah, so of course I have a team of VAs handling that, and they've got it down to kind of a system. Let's say if we're using Oberlo, they actually kind of figure out where they are in the orders and take turns. And then we have multiple AliExpress accounts so that they can all kind of order at the same time. But typically, for best-selling products, we'll actually move off AliExpress, and my VAs will provide a CSV file to the suppliers. And yeah, sometimes you just got to do it old school like that because it is more efficient than Oberlo. It's faster. And the most suppliers that I've worked with, I simply just PayPal them via the international supplier payment. And then, did you mention something about cash flow?
Right. So how do you manage it, like the cash flow coming in, going? So how do you manage that?
Yes. Okay. So as far as cash flow goes, I'm not too concerned, even with like the PayPal rolling reserves and holds, which I'm sure a lot of people have been hit with. And I'm no stranger to that too, but just know your numbers and data, and cash flow won't be a problem. And I'm a big fan of gradual, steady growth. It's good to scale, of course, but if you scale too fast, there can definitely be problems. So guys, just take your time to go on the gradual slope.
So besides AliExpress, what other order suppliers do you recommend?
Yeah, so I don't know if some of you are aware, but I also do what they call high ticket drop shipping, and that is basically working with domestic suppliers, particularly United States based premium suppliers with items that range from $500 to even $20K plus. So in this case, you typically gotta dial the phone and call them up to even get them to work with you. And they won't drop ship for everyone, certainly. And some don't even know what drop shipping is to begin with. So making them definitely exclusive when you do manage to seal the deal with them. So again, I work with not only just low ticket industry, but also the high ticket industry.
Okay. So do you post daily on your niche fan pages, or you just use them to run ads?
No, I actually have an automatic poster software that posts, I believe, up to 90 days in advance, and then just keeps posting, fun, organic, viral content on the page.
Okay, lovely. So one of the most important questions is you made 2 million in 8 months. So how do you learn internet marketing?
Excuse me, what was that at the end?
I said, how do you learn internet marketing?
Oh, how did I learn internet marketing? So it's been simply a gradual experience. So it was all trial and error. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have any courses. But there's plenty of free resources out there. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. I don't know if you guys have heard of a guy named Adrian Morrison, but I attended one of his webinars one day, and he mentioned something. This was back in May 2016, right before my store in June 16 just completely took off. But he mentioned the concept of targeting. So meaning we would just target a country by one, but without any targeting settings. So we pretty much left gender alone, left age alone, left the targeting options blank, everything. And that's kind of what helped me take off. But again, I built some pixel intelligence with Instagram prior to that, and then really took with the Facebook ads learning experience. So again, it's kind of baptism by fire for me, but nothing will ever replace experience, period. I mean, courses can help, of course, but you just got to get down in there and get dirty.
Okay. So besides Shopify, have you ever tried any other platforms, e-commerce website like Magenttour or WooCommerce?
Yeah, so before Shopify, I was on WooCommerce, and for people that go to that little webinar link, I actually do have a case study on a store that I used to run on WooCommerce, and then I sold it. But in terms of if I would ever go back to WooCommerce, I can't say I would, because it's just too many technical issues. Like if you update one plugin, it could potentially break your whole site. And that was just getting annoying after time.
Okay. So, say for example, if someone is planning to hire a VA, when do you think he should, think about hiring or outsourcing for a VA?
Okay, so for me, it was literally like an oh crap moment. I need help, just because I was getting too many orders. I found myself, sitting on the computer processing orders one by one on Orbilo. I was like, I should probably be spending my time, marketing instead of doing this very simple task. So at that moment, I knew I had to hire a VA. So I went off to Upwork.com and then found what I call my lead VA. And she had already had experience with a previous dropship store. So I basically handed the keys to the kingdom, and then she immediately helped my business without even having to train her, which was wonderful.
Okay, fantastic. If someone is trying, say, manual bidding, and there's approximately $200 spent in 1 hour, and still there's no sale, so do you think they should turn that off, or what would you suggest? Just wait?
No, they need to turn it off if they've spent $200 without any sales. And as far as bidding goes, you always want to make sure that or at least in my case, I always want to test it on auto bid first. If it does well in auto bid, then I'll duplicate it into a new campaign via manual bidding. But you always want to monitor the results in your ad account time in the morning only to adjust the bids, and then just monitor hour by hour. And then again, if it's $200 without sales, you either need to reduce the ad spend or the budget, or and then wait till the next day, or kill it, because you've probably just produced bad data.
Okay. So when will you turn off manual bid? High cost per purchase, or when?
Yeah, I mean, the only time I'll turn it off is if it's clearly losing. If it's breaking even, there's no reason to turn off an ad set, because you're building a list for free. Mm-hmm. That, and you might be making actually a return of investment, because Facebook doesn't track the results of organic sales. So you could be making money there. You could be making money through retargeting as well, or you could be making money through email marketing too. So if it's breaking even, leave it be. See if it actually turns more into profit later, because it's good to get smarter. And of course, if it's a wildly profitable ad, leave it alone.
Okay, lovely. So have you tried affiliate marketing on Shopify? If yes, which Shopify apps or software do you use?
Yeah, so I use Affiliately, and that's what I use from the beginning. I'm a big fan of it. It's not the prettiest interface or like most intuitive, but it flat out works. And then it's very easy to set your own terms and conditions for your affiliates. And then I just pay them out every Friday.
Okay. So could you please give some advice on how to use email marketing in the Q4? I mean, how many emails you send per week? How do you use subject lines, long or short emails, those kind of details?
Yeah, so for the email softwares I'm using, it kind of depends on the business. So it's either going to be, for e-com, it's either going to be MailChimp or Klaviyo. So just depending on on the business. But in terms of email goes, as soon as a subscriber subscribes to the list, they're sent an email sequence regarding to where they signed up. So whether they're a buyer or whether they're still kind of a cold lead, sends them different sequences just to indoctrinate them into your brand and store. So in those sequences, usually it's followed with a lot of just fun organic content and testimonials or reviews of your products. And I find that is a really good way to get them into your brand and to buy into you. But as far as just straight promo emails, we'll do 3 times per week actually. I think that might be a little high on the industry side, but we found really good results. So at least once a week we'll do free just pay shipping as the main item, and then the other 2 times they'll be straight retail price items. As far as the email structure goes, I like to have just kind of one main product as the headlining product, and then showcased with 4 other products below that. So I keep it pretty just simple, picture heavy, titles with each one, and then a call to action below each product. And as far as titles go for naming your emails. I mean, we keep it pretty simple. Sometimes we'll use like a thought-provoking question. Sometimes we'll actually just go the simple promo route of, the actual item name. I find that works well. Use emojis. Another good one to do, if you look in your browser, so let's say you're using Chrome, you get notifications, like let's say you have your Facebook tab open. Sometimes we'll put like I don't know what it's called. It's like the half crescent, and then we put a number there, like 1, and then the other crescent. That gets people to open it up because they think it's kind of like a notification too. So try it.
Okay. So have you ever tried Amazon FBA?
No, I have not. I definitely have some friends in that industry, but honestly, I'm kind of scared to try Amazon FBA just because I hear some interesting stories of Jeff Bezos just destroying brands overnight just because they see it's profitable, and then Amazon decides to come out with its own version or project of that, and literally shuts down your business in one day.
Okay. So if I'm a newbie and if I'm trying a theme on Shopify store, should I go in for a basic theme or a paid theme?
Sure. That's always a common question that I get. The basic themes, they're pretty good out of the box as is. Sure, they need a little customization here and there, but the Supply and the Brooklyn theme are pretty solid themes. And I didn't even switch to a paid theme till, let's see, it would have been September 2016, like the very end of it. That's when I actually switched over to a paid theme. So to say that you need a paid theme would be a misconception. You can definitely rock the free themes, but again, if you want a little bit more customization and to stand out a little bit more, then you might want to consider a paid theme.
Okay. So can you suggest any European country for dropshipping?
Country for, what was that again?
European country for dropshipping, starting with dropshipping?
Oh, yeah. So for targeting, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So I like to target a lot of European countries. I target most of them, actually. So the United Kingdom is an obvious one to do, just because they're a major English-speaking country. I also find a lot of success with France and Germany in particular. Poland is on the rise as well. And you'll be surprised how many sales you can even get from like Italy and Greece, even though their economy is struggling right now. But again, just instead of choosing like that general like European region option, I find it best to just kind of break it down by country by country by country. There's a lot of countries in Europe, so just make sure you give them all a shot. Even though they might be a smaller audience, they're still worth testing.
Fantastic. So have you tried Instagram influencer? How do you find some good influencer?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like when I first started out, I relied heavily on Instagram and just kind of direct messaging people off my phone. I put constant like hours into that and definitely worked my butt off that first month, but it definitely paid off. But the thing about like influencers is sometimes now, I would say it is different than a year ago today. It's harder to get into reach with them. So sometimes direct messaging is not the best option. If they do have an email option, that is definitely your best bet to actually reaching them. And as far as like programs to find them, yeah, there's some out there, but I find that just getting dirty on Instagram and finding them via like hashtags and things like that is still the best way to find relevant influencers within your respective niche.
Okay, lovely. So how do you communicate with your AliExpress suppliers besides WhatsApp, Skype? Is there any other communication method that you use?
No, we definitely use Skype primarily. I'm sure for a few suppliers we might use like the default AliExpress messaging system, which is pretty horrible. But it's mainly on Skype. They'll usually hit me up and just be like, we should move our conversation over there just because we have that regular back and forth communication. But more about like the suppliers, it's really good to actually build a strong relationship with them. I don't know about you guys, but we send each other like gifts back and forth. So it's you just give and build relationships with them, because that way, if there's any problems, you immediately squash the problems together and move forward. And of course, you can negotiate for better pricing.
Okay, fantastic. So this would be the last question, and before we wind up for the day, would you given some pep talk to the group here?
Yeah. So there's a few key concepts that I always try to keep in mind every day. One of the phrases I always live and die by is always be testing. This is definitely key, especially within this dropshipping industry where people are flying through products. So all the like 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs are literally testing those 5 to 10 products per day. You need to be doing that too, especially to find your first winning product if you're new. You need to just crank out the ads, or if you don't have the budget to do Facebook ads from the beginning, I didn't initially, then use Instagram and get those affiliates or influencers. That's perfectly fine to test products as well. And then beyond always testing, there's another phrase I live by, and that's always be diversifying. So don't rely on just one source of traffic, because Facebook, I don't know if you guys know, but they can slap you in instantly. Even in a new store that I started this last August, all of a sudden they slapped my payment methods out of nowhere, which I've never seen before. So that can immediately affect your sales and traffic and everything. So you want to make sure that you're not only just using Facebook ads, that you're using Instagram, you're using Pinterest, email marketing, Facebook Messenger marketing, SEO, which a lot of people neglect nowadays, but it's an incredible long-term strategy to take. And then you have AdWords, which almost no one's doing for whatever reason. And that's such a great platform to work with, especially for a warmer audience, because when we're looking for products, we don't go to Facebook to search for products, right? We go to Google to search for what we want. So there's clearly buyer intent from the get-go to go to your store. So again, diversify and test, guys.
Okay. Well, from our side, that would be all. Thank you so much for your time, Keitsu. We were really honored. Best of luck for your future endeavors. And that would be all. Take care. See ya.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, everyone.
Goodbye.
Peace.